All right, in today's video, we're going to look at, is it possible to not improve your life by stopping drinking alcohol? Let's go. It's a really good question, but I'd say it's 95% based around fear, right? There's certain things in your life when you stop drinking alcohol that are going to improve, right? That's just a fact. Just because you stop drinking alcohol, just because you stop the flow of alcohol. You know, physical stuff, there's no more damage to your body. Right? There's no more physical damage to your body, so that's going to improve. But there's other things in your life that won't improve, right? Unless you make an effort at improving them. You know, like all things in life, the more effort that you put into this, the more effort that you put into, I should say, the right direction in your life towards the right goals, the more your life is going to improve. So I always tell my clients that this is such an incredible window of opportunity in the early days to get the momentum on your side, right? You have momentum on your side. You can use that to massive effect. You know, it's a time when you're kind of in no man's land, right? You're kind of vulnerable, but that vulnerability opens you up to deep change, right? To changing a lot of stuff about yourself. And it's in this that there's huge opportunity. It's huge opportunity where your mind is primed for any changes that you throw at it. So it's a time that you really can't afford to waste. Now, I'm not saying that, you know, you can't change later in your life. I'm living proof of that, right? I made every mistake in the book when I started out on this journey. I had lots of stumbles, lots of obstacles that stood in my way, and I really didn't have a clue what I was doing. I didn't have a clue how to do any of the stuff that I'm talking about now. You know, if I could go back to my early days, that first day, I'd shave 5 years off my journey just because of what I know now. But that's hindsight, right? The problem with most people is they don't realize that everything you need to get from where you are now to where you want to be is about skills. It's about not having the right skills or learning the right skills, right? Self-belief is a skill. Self-confidence is a skill. Controlling your emotions, controlling your urges, these are skills, right? I'm talking about self-belief and self-confidence in context, right? You might have self-confidence in other areas of your life. You might have self-belief in other areas of your life, but I'm talking about this particular context, right? Where you're feeling vulnerable, you haven't got the old crutch to fall back on, you haven't got that escape to fall back into, and you have to relearn those things, right? We're all on different levels in this journey, but these are skills that you can learn. They're not skills that are above you, right? You know, there's skills that you might have to gradually work your way up towards, but they're there. You know, and each skill that you learn becomes a foundational block that creates a really solid foundation or a solid platform for building what comes next, right? You know, you hear this time and time again where it's like an old tale where somebody sees consistent outcomes in somebody else and they think, well, that's all right for you, mate, right? I've had this people saying to me, it's okay for you live in Spain, it's okay for you know this stuff, you know this knowledge. But what they don't see is all the work that a person who what they've put into getting where they are in this life, right? What they're putting into what they have in life, who they are in life, where they are in terms of their feelings, you know, happiness and joy and all that kind of stuff, all the contentment that they experience day in and day out, right? They don't see that all of that took work, you know, especially somebody who is coming off the back of a bad habit. And as I said in the beginning, you know, this is a really good question, but it's based on fear, and fear will hold you back. Fear will make you look at other things. They won't allow you to look at the reality as it is, right? As reality, you know, you'll have different shades of grey that are casting doubt over what you're doing. The biggest fear that you should have is continuing down the same road that you're already on. I mean, you can imagine where you're going to be in 5 years' time, right? You know, this is just take yourself down even a year down the road, and you should be more fearful of that than stopping doing what you're doing, right? This is always a choice. You drink or you don't drink. Remember that. And it's a simple choice. Either you take the alcohol out of your life or you don't. And if you don't take the alcohol out of your life, there's many forms of doing that. You can still pretend that you're moderating, but it's still putting a toxin into your body, right? And there's also, when you stop drinking alcohol, then you have a choice of either doing nothing and hoping that life is just going to throw you bunches of flowers every day, or you can do something. You can aim yourself towards something. You have to ask yourself at this moment, if you're on that threshold of stopping drinking alcohol, do you have any choice but to change, right? Change is going to happen whether you like it or not. Change is going to happen whether you like it or not, right? Then all you have to say to yourself is, am I going to take charge of that change? Am I going to take charge of what's happening in my life? Am I going to take charge of the direction that change is going? Or as much of that as I can, as much of it as is possible, or not? And we're going to go with the wind, the way the wind blows. So when you've made that decision to change, then you've got to decide what road you're going to take, and if you want to get persistent or consistent positive outcomes in this life, you have to build strong processes in order to get there. And those are built bit by bit. Like I said earlier on, I made so many different mistakes early in this journey, some of which could have taken me back to where I started, or, just scope of my whole journey altogether, but they didn't. So the biggest barriers to whether your life is going to improve or not improve, these are all up here inside your head, right? The stories that you tell yourself, the fears that you entertain, the fears that you feed. The fears that you feed are going to grow. What you focus on is what you get, right? The beliefs about yourself, the beliefs about what you're capable of, right? What you value in life. All of these things are going to be your biggest obstacles. People say, oh, well, I value this and I value that and I value the other. A lot of these values are just bullshit. I know, looking at myself and where I've come from. My biggest value when I was a drinker was getting drunk, was going out and drinking. I didn't want to admit that to myself, but I know that now for a fact. Otherwise I wouldn't have been doing it. If I didn't value the alcohol, if I didn't value what the alcohol gave me, I would not have been doing it. So it is what it is. If you want to be happy, if you want a happy life, if you want a contented life, if you want consistent outcomes, if you want consistent outcomes for the things that you really desire in life, you have to force those persistent outcomes through, right? You have to make them happen. If you think that way, then you're going to live that way. If you think that it doesn't matter what's happening here, I'm committed to this journey and I'm going to make this happen. But you have to, if you don't know what your outcomes are going to be, if you don't know your destination, where are you going? Where are you going in life? Most people stop drinking alcohol and they have no destination that they want to get to. So they're just swarming around that same old place. I'm sober, I'm in recovery, I'm going to meetings, and they're still going to meetings 20 years later, right? So you need a positive outcome that you want to achieve, or positive outcomes, positive consistent outcomes. It's the consistency that makes the outcomes. You build habits around those, and that's the thing that's going to really help you. So again, if you don't have these things, even if you can't see how you're going to get these things in your life, they're not out of your league. They're just skills that you can learn, right? You're going to have to spend the time and energy on these things. You're going to have to spend time investing your time in these things. You're going to have to spend energy, investing your energy into these things, on getting these skills. And look at it for yourself. And isn't that the best way to use your time and energy? When I look back on how much time and energy I wasted on thinking about drinking, recovering from drinking. And then even when I was recovered, my brain was in such a state that I couldn't utilize my time properly. I couldn't utilize my energy properly. So, you're going to have to spend some money as well. If You know, some of the best money that I've ever spent on since I stopped drinking alcohol, especially, has been on my education. Not all education. I think some of the worst money that I've spent has been on university education. I tried to do a psychology degree. I got halfway through it and it was just nonsense. It was rubbish, right? I got nothing out of it. So I spend a lot of money on books, on courses that I can do, on personal coaching. And I've spent a lot of money on those things over the years because these things are the things that repay me multiple times over. You know, if I can learn one new thing that's going to help me to step my life forwards or increase my understanding about life or about myself, maybe it's going to help me to help somebody else, right? To help you, right? It is what it is. It's all worth it. You know, you reap what you sow. What's that saying? If you love what you'll do, you'll never work a day in your life. You know, that's really been the story of my life since I stopped drinking alcohol, right? I love what I do, and I get up every morning and I'm so happy about the things that I'm doing. I'm looking forward to the day. I'm looking forward to coming out walking. I'm looking forward to making videos. I'm looking forward to you know, just thinking about what I'm going to do. So get back to your question. Is it possible not to improve your life by stopping drinking alcohol? And I think, look, if you don't do the mental work specifically, if you don't work on your mental models, the frameworks about how you view yourself and your life, you're just going to be kicking around in circles. We keep saying this: stop the flow, do the work, and then you move on. And it's that moving on part that all the benefits come from. That's where all the happiness comes from, the joy comes from, the just being contented with your life. And you know, I've seen it over and over and over again. People without their crutch, without their escape, they're looking for a similar thing to plug back into, another mind addiction, another dopamine fix to go back into, another instant gratification. And there's only one way out of this, right? Knowledge is power, right? Change your thoughts and you change your world. What we think we become, believe you can, and you're halfway there. These are all quotes that can really help you to move forwards. You know, they're old quotes, but they're true. You know, they're cliches, but they're true. So anyway, I'll leave it there for today. Take good care of yourself, and I'll speak to you soon. Onwards and upwards, eh? Bye now.